Or I'll take it.
Good evening.
Before you throw it away.
I'd like to call this committee meeting to order, please. Thank you. We're starting the legislative committee meeting for this evening. I'll start by calling the roll. Mr. Massey? Mr. Green?
Present.
Mr. Tobin?
Here.
Ms. Ray?
Here.
All right, we're all five here. We're ready to do work. We have three resolutions, and I call to your attention, assuming that they would pass through unabated. We have item 12.9, 12.10, 12.11 appear as action items on this agenda. Counselor?
Yes, sir.
It's your party. You can cry if you want to.
Which one first?
Well, they have a packet, and the first one on the pile is electrical.
The electrical permit?
Yes.
Well, that's actually the simplest one. Quite often, most of the time, I would say, the electrical permit work is subsumed in the work of a building permit. So we have not in the past charged somebody for getting an electrical permit when they're also having a building permit. In fact, we don't even issue the electrical permit. We just subsume it in the building permit. But there are some situations where you have to get an electrical permit and you don't need a building permit. So the electrical permit is on its own. And we decided, it was Jacob's idea, we should make a charge for the electrical permit itself. But again, when it's not going to be charged when there is a building permit that includes that work.
So it could be, usually it'll be happening after, or it might be happening before? When you say it's not included with the work? Or could it be either way?
No, what I'm saying is, we'll charge a fee for the electrical permit if, assuming the electrical permit work is not included also in a building permit for which there's another charge.
Oh, regardless. Okay.
Right.
All righty. I'm going to do committee of the whole and go around the table. Mr. Kleiner, do you have any questions or comments?
No, it's only $50. It seems reasonable to me. Thank you.
Mr. Green?
Reasonable with me.
Mr. Witt? Massey? Mr. President? Mr. Tobin?
Not familiar with it, but like if I want to get a ceiling fan installed by like Lowe's,
There's a question from the floor, gentlemen. Mr. Tobin, there's a question
if I
from the
if I
floor.
want to get a ceiling fan put in, is it like is there like a range, like it has to be over a certain amount before you pay $50, or if it's a small thing,
It's anytime you use a licensed electrician in the city of Middletown.
it's $50?
Yeah, anytime you use a licensed electrician in the city of Middletown. So if you can do it by yourself in your own house, you're allowed to do some electric work. So there will be no charge or no permit.
Saying the fee is only $50 compared to,
$50 only for any electric work that would be done. Like Alex was saying, usually when there is a building permit in there, it's the value of the electrical work is included within the building permit. And this way you don't have to have a separate electrical permit. This way, it's only for us in order to control and find out where is electrical work being performed, who's doing it, and is underwriter inspection was done or not for it, and that's what we are concerned about. That's why we want
not
to.
the $750 fee.
I'm sorry?
There's a $750 fee for non-licensed.
No, that's a different one.
That's
That's
totally
different
different?
licensing. Yeah, that's different licensing.
So you're saying for a light bulb at your house, a license?
For what?
For changing a ceiling fan, you have to have a $50 permit?
If you are using a licensed electrician to do it, yes. If you're doing it by yourself, no. You're allowed to do it by yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why did this come up?
Because it's a requirement. It's been a requirement in our code for electrical permit to be issued. And now we're just, we want to put some fees next to it.
And who's enforcing this?
We are, DPW.
I guess my only thing is like I feel like the taxpayer for like a small thing is getting a $50 surcharge just to get a small thing done. Like I wish there was like jobs $300 and above or something. I don't know. Just I feel like the taxpayers.
It will be 300 above now. No matter what.
But
Yeah,
I agree with it and the theory of it, but I worry about small jobs, and then now I have to pay $50 more, for.
Well, it's like, as Jacob was saying, there is a definition in our code that if you only do a certain amount of minor work, you don't need an electrical permit.
Oh, okay.
So you're not going to have to get it. But if you go above that to the point where the code requires you to get a licensed electrician, then you need an electrical permit.
Okay, that answered my question.
So I think that fairly does the trick for what you're saying.
We're good? Jennifer, Swire, any questions? No. Alderwoman Ray, any questions?
No, that clarified it for me.
Okay. So, speaking to members of the committee, all in favor of passing this resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Those who abstain, motion carries unanimously. It will appear as item 12.9. Next one that's on the pile is the rentals.
The reason for this resolution is we just want to make it clear that if you have a rental permit, it expires on a certain date. Well, what's happening often is that there is a delay for one reason or another, oftentimes the fault of the property owner, to get a renewal. So what happens in that time period? Rental permit expires, say, June 1st. Well, no inspection is accomplished till July 15th. The property owner, for one reason or another, doesn't finish it, doesn't do all the work that's necessary, or is away, and the inspection gets delayed or canceled or adjourned, so rental permit doesn't get renewed immediately. This makes clear that the property owner is not going to get a free ride from whatever that delayed period is. In other words, from June 1st, when it expires, to July 1st or August 1st or October 1st, it's going to be retroactive. The new permit will be retroactive to the date the old one expired. And this resolution also makes clear that you can be held liable for failing to renew it during that time period. And that's in the discretion of the commissioner to impose a fine. It's also in the discretion of the commissioner and myself as prosecutor in city court. If you don't have a rental permit in that 1, 2, 3, 4 month time period, you may be charged in city court with renting property without a permit. So we're just trying to make it a little clearer that there's no free ride in there. It has to be done, and it should be done. Our code right now says you're supposed to apply for a renewal permit 30 days before the current one expires. Doesn't always happen, and it gets delayed for one reason or another.
This does not affect the tenant.
I'm sorry?
This does not affect the tenant.
No.
Is that correct? Okay. Another question? Mr. Massey?
Alex, are they notified that the rental permit is due to expire?
Well,
All right, let him answer. Who? You. Miguel answered for
Yeah,
you.
we do send letters, but the letters are courtesy. You know, the owner, they're supposed to be familiar with the law, the
I'm
tenant.
familiar with the law, but you get a rental permit in January. By October, you may have forgotten that you got it in January. That's why I'm just wondering if you want to impose $100 fee, maybe it would be a good idea to at least notify them that you're due for renewal, and if you don't renew, you're gonna get charged $100.
Yeah, well, like I said, we do send
Okay, thank you.
letters, but it's not required.
Well, I'm going to shock everybody and say I agree with Mr. Massey.
May the record reflect.
May the record reflect. I think we really have to
EMTs out there,
firm up our internal system before we start imposing penalties, because I know the council president mentioned one complaint we do get quite a bit is people who do file their rental permit and then don't get an inspection. And that's very frustrating to people also. So
Self-defeating.
I would like to hold off on this one just for a little while till we improve the system. I've made proposals about self-reporting that requires more than just paying the rental fee. There are communities throughout the country that do a self-reporting combined with physical inspections, and I think it's a perfect opportunity to get into that where upon application, and like when you have a liquor license, you get a renewal from the liquor authority. When you have other licenses from the state, you get a renewal. So the burden is on the agency to notify people that your renewal is due in 30 days or 45 days. Then you're ignoring it. So again, I me, I would request that you would hold off on it and give us an opportunity, and I've been asking this of the council now for a couple of years. If you remember some of the arguments that Mr. Twill and I have had in front of the council about self-reporting, we have the technology to do it. We have the ability to do much more with that fee, and also the notification process can almost be automatic with emails. You can require, like the Liquor Authority now requires you to do it electronically. So if you're going to take the responsibility of having a rental property, you have to set up an email. We don't have to go out licking envelopes and sending out notices, but I think the way we do it is a little bit archaic, and I think then to impose a penalty on them is a little bit too much without us doing the proper notice. So let me say it a third time. I agree with Mr. Massey.
Okay, so I need everybody to keep calm. So in other words, you feel it's both archaic and inefficient, is that what you're saying?
I do, I think, and now we want to impose a penalty on folks for not remembering that I had a rental permit in last August.
Okay,
And
think the
without
commissioner
some
is-
notice, whether you get a courtesy letter or not, a courtesy doesn't mean it's a requirement of the city. And with the self-registration, with the email registrations, there's receipts that you know that the email is a validation, that the landlord who is responsible for giving you a valid email has received it. So there's, we went back to this when we were discussing the fire alarms, where I don't believe government should be in a position where we can arbitrarily do things or arbitrarily say things or renew things or penalize people. I think we need to have a process in place that works first, and then if they don't comply, then we can offer a penalty.
okay.
I'm not going to say it a fourth time.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So it appears that the commissioner is a little taken aback by your remarks.
I understand he is. He's
Okay.
been taken back by my remarks on this topic for a couple of years now.
It's a tradition.
Yes.
Okay, let's keep calm. I'm going to go committee of the whole, and we'll see what the committee wants to do, whether we're taking action or postponing it as per the mayor's comments. I'll start with Alderwoman Ray.
I'll agree that there's two sides to the coin here. I mean, there's the good intentioned person who can't get their inspection, or it gets canceled and pushed out, and then there's the people who just aren't paying attention and trying to push it out as far as possible. I agree with being retroactive in terms of, your permit expired on July 1st, then no matter when you actually get it, it will always renew on July 1st. There's no lapse in time where you don't have an active
Get an extra
permit
month.
and get some free months. I agree with that portion of this, but I also agree with the mayor, Mr. Massey, that there should be, maybe some notification process, and if we can do it electronically, that's even easier. Where they know, they've been told, this is something you need to take care of. But when they do call to take care of it, we need to give them an inspection appointment.
Right.
That's compliant. So I agree with tabling this so that we can make sure it's done right.
Why don't we table it until further?
I'm still going to do committee of the whole, but I appreciate your input. Jean-Francois, you have any thoughts?
I think Alderman Massey is right. We definitely need to do some homework.
Turning into a movement now. Mr. Tobin?
I'm fine with tabling it. I think if also the self-reporting and making it made a digital will we can collect a lot of information and find stuff quicker than if it's paper or, and sharpening, filling up, making the system work a little more efficiency can never be wrong.
Mr. President? In what way to table? Mr. Massey, we know how you feel. Would you care to elaborate?
Well, in 21 years, this is the first time I was actually right. So,
Hang around another 21, you could be right again. Mr. Witt?
We're good, thank you.
Mr. Green?
We need to table it because I have a lot of comments on this, so.
You can also point out to the chairman that on a motion to table, there's no discussion.
well, I didn't want to overstep him.
Well, I haven't actually.
He doesn't understand the process.
Continued polling the board.
He's still new.
Because he may have been overridden if three people said, let's move it forward. I know it's hard to believe. Mr. Kleiner, sorry for the interruption.
Okay. I didn't think technically we had a motion to table on the floor yet, so
No, we're
we
just-
can discuss.
we're just
And
polling the
my question is for the mayor. How do we move forward from here? If we like your idea and want to talk about setting it up so that we notify people, you say you've asked the council, but the council can't do that. I mean, what should the council do? We need a,
Well, you need to set it and put it in committee and have a discussion. I've been in front of this council several times discussing this self-reporting concept in conjunction with actual physical inspections, not in place of, and it has not gone into a committee or it hasn't been talked about in a committee.
Do we ask for a resolution to, I'm
No,
not on
I
that
think we asked
committee,
for a
but-
committee vote, and I'll make a presentation to the committee, provide them with the data that other communities are doing, and we can work together to put together a program that will be satisfactory and meet our local needs.
Okay.
And
very
then,
good.
and then you have a vote on it.
I can't make that motion because I'm not technically on the committee.
I'm ready, as soon as we're
Thought I
done
did
talking, I'm
already.
ready to proceed.
Okay.
So, I was basically polling the crew, but it would appear now I could put a motion on the table to the members of the committee. I will make a motion to table this resolution pending further discussion, clarification. All in favor of motion to table?
Aye.
Any opposed to motion to table? Motion to table carries. I'll call your attention, this also appears again under 12.10, and we'll have to table it at that time as well.
Mr. Chairman, before you, I know we're running close on time on the last resolution. I don't think you're going to have time to get into any big discussion, but after speaking with the council president, former captain of the Walk Hill Fire Department and Fire Chief Nick Barber, I think I would like to propose an amendment to what we proposed regarding longtime members of, we're tying the exemption into the LoSAP program. There are members that, who continue to play a role in the fire department for many, many years after their active, response to fires. And I think we should amend it to come up with a number, like say 40, if you've been active for 40 years in the department and you are now continue to be active as a social member, then that would also qualify you. I don't have the exact language,
Okay.
but some type of an amendment. I think one person called it the Jack McMahon Amendment, because Jack's been in the companies for 70 years, let's say, and he would not qualify under this. So I'm willing to make that change so that we don't have to vote on it tonight, but we will have something ready for you by the next meeting to qualify more of the old-time members for the exemption in the city. They're already qualified under the school district exemption, and this will qualify longtime members under the city exemption also.
Understood, Mr. Mayor. I'll make a motion to, excuse me, to table this resolution. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is tabled, and we need to stop talking. And I make a motion to adjourn. Mr. Massey seconds. All in favor? Thank you so much.